Hey guys, thank you for joining me today on Godspot. I want to talk to you about access today. A number of years ago, I became the chaplain at Life FM Radio, which is a Christian broadcaster here in Adelaide. And fortnightly, I go to each staff meeting and I share a word with them, a devotion, pray with them, and just spend a bit of time getting to know them. And it's been a great journey, and it continues on to this day. And I'm just excited to be a part of it. But in the early days, what would happen is for a number of years, the routine was when I turned up at the radio, I'd have access to the foyer, it was always unlocked, but I couldn't go any further to the inner offices or the staff room. It was a security lock on the door. And the only way to get in there was someone had to open it, let me in. So there's a phone at the front foyer, so I'd ring on the phone and I'd ask, look, could someone come and please, I'd introduce myself, I'd say who it was, and they would come and unlock the door. Sometimes it took a few minutes for someone to answer, and I have to ring a couple of times. Sometimes they answer and then they got distracted and I have to wait a few minutes to be let in. But in general, it worked out really well and people just let me in. I also learned very early that when you're there waiting to get through, don't knock on the window with the DJs when they're doing live recordings, because it interrupts their show. So I learned that very quickly not to do that. But what really changed recently is the CEO came to me and said, Scott, I've got something for you. And he gave it to me, and it's a little round fob. And this fob gives me access through that door into the inner offices with a lot of freedom. So now when I go, I turn up at the foyer, I swipe the fob, click, the door unlocks, and I walk through. And I'll tell you, it's changed everything. It made life so much easier just to get access to the radio. So I want to talk to you about access. Access is really important, especially if you're going to be successful or you want to get somewhere in your life, in your ministry, or in your business, or personally, maybe even in sports. I don't know where you're at. But it says in Hebrews 4:16, let us then with confidence draw near to the throne of grace, that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need. What a powerful scripture. What it's saying there, because of the work of Jesus, as Christians that we have received, we now have access to the very throne of God. I mean, how many of you have the access to the throne of the Queen? Nobody does, that I know anyway. But having thrown to the creator of everything, what a privilege and an honor that is. So access is really important, especially if you want to move forward in your personal life. So there's a few things you need to consider if you're going to have access to be successful in your ministry, in your business, or even a sports club, whatever it may be, or your personal life. Firstly, you need a roadmap, a game plan. A roadmap and a game plan are really important because you need to know what you're aiming for. You need to know what you want to do. And by knowing what you want and the position you want to be within 5 years from today, it helps you to set in place and know how to posture yourself for the rest of your life to get to that point. So you need a game plan, because having a game plan means that you're now posturing yourself, looking for the opportunity for access, looking to connect, looking for a way forward to develop yourself to get to that point in your life. Secondly, you need to understand the importance of strategic relationships, not just any relationships, strategic relationships. And these are relationships that really come over time. You know, I have a number of men in my life that are mentors. I meet with them every Tuesday morning, and a couple of them are being business owners, and they have access to me because I've known them for some 30 years. And they speak into my life. One of them's older, one of them's younger, but they've both been very successful. And they've been able to mentor me and guide me. And I would consider them a strategic relationship. That is through them that I've had access to growth, to expand and enlargement, and to develop my business in such a way that I'm not working in it, I'm working on business. I have other people as well outside that I have mentors as well. There's a good friend of mine as well, a couple of them. And they speak into my life and they've mentored me in many ways. And I look at my life today and I find that I'm actually living and walking the journey that they've already walked. So strategic relationships are really important because they're really going to help you get access for what you're aiming for. Thirdly, I think it's important to know the why, because the why is what creates desire for access. Why do we want to do this? What is it behind this? Because when things get tough, you'll always remember the why. The why is so important. Why do I want that role? Why do I want that position? And you've got to go back to it because you've got to be resilient. And this brings me to the last point. If you're going to have access, access is not a given. You got to fight for access. You got to get access to the room you want to get in, whatever that may look for you. You're going to have to fight for it. It means you're going to have to be resilient. That means every day you got to turn up and you've got to be responsible to move forward and allow yourself to be developed. Remember this, we always talk about favor. Favor is not always fair, but it's always appreciated. So whatever you do, if you get access to the room that you've never been in before, share it with someone else and pass it on. I want to thank you for listening. I hope this really helps you. Hit the like button, share it with someone else, and subscribe to my channel, Godspot Scott Sharop. Thank you for listening.